Today, we're diving into the world of open source software and tackling a problem that probably feels really familiar. Why does everything sometimes feel so slow? We're going to explore how workflow automation might just be the secret to speeding things up, but maybe not in the way you'd expect. So let's get right into it. Open source is this incredible engine for creativity, right? You've got all these brilliant people from all over the world contributing. But let's be honest, that can lead to some serious coordination headaches. Have you ever been on a project and just wondered, with all this brain power, why does fixing a simple bug or launching a new feature sometimes feel like it's moving at a snail's pace? Well, you're not alone in asking that. A team of researchers decided to dig into this exact question, and they went big. They analyzed more than 4,500 GitHub projects and hundreds of thousands of issues to see what was really going on. And what they discovered is that the answer isn't as simple as just, automate all the things. No. The real key, the secret sauce, is understanding that not all automation is created equal. The study uncovered that there are actually two totally different ways, two fundamental logics to how we automate our work. And getting this distinction right, well, that's the difference between just spinning your wheels and actually hitting the accelerator on innovation. And all of this insight comes from this amazing piece of research right here, published in Information Systems Research. So let's jump in and see what their data really tells us. So what are these two faces of automation? Let's unpack the core idea from this study. Okay, so here's the big idea. The researchers split automation into two very different concepts. On one hand, you have mechanization. Think of this as automating the execution of specific, repeatable tasks. And on the other hand, you have orchestration, which is all about automating the coordination between all those tasks and all the people involved. Let's look a little closer at mechanization. A great way to think about this is like a single robotic arm on an assembly line. Its job is to do one thing, like screw in a bolt, perfectly, over and over again. In the software world, this is your CI/CD pipeline, automatically compiling code, running tests, or linting your code for style. It's all about doing those routine, predictable jobs flawlessly every time. Now, on the flip side, we have orchestration. And if mechanization is the robotic arm, then orchestration is the orchestra conductor. The conductor doesn't play a single instrument, right? Their job is to make sure all the musicians are playing in sync to create a beautiful piece of music. In software, this is the automation that sends notifications when a build fails, automatically moves cards on a project board, or triages new issues to the right team. It's the coordinator. Okay, so let's see how this all plays out in the real world, starting with mechanization. This is where we see a huge impact on what the researchers call incremental innovation. So mechanization really shines when it comes to what the paper calls maintenance innovation. This is the day-to-day, absolutely essential work of keeping a project healthy. We're talking bug fixes, security patches, refactoring old code, the stuff that's pretty routine and predictable. And the impact of applying mechanization to these tasks, it's pretty significant. The study found that it speeds up the resolution time for these maintenance issues by nearly 8%. Now, a percentage is one thing, but what does that actually mean for a development team? Well, it translates to saving, on average, a full 3 days on every single maintenance issue. Think about that. That's a massive amount of developer time freed up from manual, repetitive tasks. Okay, but that's the routine stuff. What about the really creative work? The big, new ideas? Well, for that, we need to switch gears and talk about orchestration. This is where things get really interesting. For what the paper calls new development innovation, so building brand new features, making huge architectural changes, really experimenting, the main challenge isn't just executing a simple task. It's coordinating a ton of different people and complex moving parts. And get this, the impact here is more than double. Orchestration was found to accelerate these big, new development issues by a staggering 16.6%. This is a total game changer. To put that in perspective, that translates to saving an incredible 9 days on every new feature or major change. What this tells us is that for complex creative work, the real bottleneck isn't execution, it's coordination. And that's exactly the problem that orchestration is designed to solve. So, we're definitely moving faster, but here's the million-dollar question. Are we sacrificing quality to get that speed? Let's take a look. This is the classic fear, right? The whole move fast and break things mantra. Does all this automation and speed come at a cost? Are we just shipping lower quality work but faster? Well, the data on this is, wow, it's incredibly clear. Yeah, projects with good automation closed over 18% more issues. But look at what happened to the quality and engagement metrics. Project stars on GitHub went up by over 16%. Forks were up by almost 10%. And actual releases, tangible updates to the software, increased by nearly 16%. So the takeaway here is huge. It's not a trade-off. What the data suggests is that good workflow automation creates this amazing positive feedback loop. When you resolve issues faster, you get more community engagement, which in turn leads to a higher perceived quality and more frequent updates. Speed and quality absolutely can go hand in hand. Okay, so let's wrap all this up. How can you take these ideas and apply them to your own projects? Let's build a little playbook. If you remember just one thing, let it be this. Not all automation is the same. The real trick is to match your automation strategy to the kind of work you're doing. For all that routine, predictable maintenance work, lean heavily on mechanization. But for the complex, creative, big picture stuff, that's when you need to focus on orchestration to streamline all that coordination and communication. And that really brings us to the final question you should be asking about your own projects. It's a simple one, but it's powerful. Are you just mechanizing tasks, or are you truly orchestrating innovation? By the way, this whole explainer was based on that fascinating research from the University of Miami, published by Informs. A huge thank you to the authors for their incredible work. Thanks for tuning in.